Welcome back everyone in our second session of data modeling. So we'll be discussing about custom and standard objects and custom and standard fields. What are the available fields and how we can create them, how we can create standard custom objects. So where we left off is we have to discuss now the object relationships. So how relationship is established in Salesforce. In any relational database, relationship is very important between any two tables. So their relationship is established using a concept of foreign key. So using that key, we can relate one table in another. But in Salesforce, we don't have concept of tables. Here we have objects. So in objects, we create fields. So in Salesforce, similarly, we create relationship using the fields. And there are a lot of fields which is provided by Salesforce using which you can create this relationship. So let's look into that one by one. There are three types of relationship fields provided by Salesforce. One is lookup, then master detail, and then we have hierarchical relationship. So lookup relationship, using this we can create relationship between two objects which will be a little loosely bound relationship. It's not very strict and it's not very tight binded. Okay, master detail relationship is a more tightly bind where we have tightly bind relationship between two objects and all the properties of the child objects will be controlled by the master object. We will look into that in more detail in a little while. And the third relationship is hierarchical relationship. There's a little limitation in hierarchical relationship. Here you can only use the user objects to create relationships. So you can create a hierarchy of objects, the user objects, to establish something like roles. So let's get into Salesforce org and let's see how we can create each relationship fields. So if you take a look at any of the objects, let's say if we take a look at accounts object. So there's already a relationship created by Salesforce between accounts and contacts. Here the contact is a child object and account is the parent. So that relationship is also established using the relationship field. So as I said, the first relationship field is lookup relationship field. So if you go into view fields here under accounts, no, we will go into contacts instead of accounts. And then we go ahead and take a look in the fields. If you see the account name and the data type of the account name is a lookup. That means this is a relationship field. Okay, so using this lookup relationship field, Salesforce have established relationship between account object and the contacts object. And here contacts is a child and account is the parent object. So similarly, we can also customize that and we can create our own custom relationship between two objects. And the second type of relationship field is master detail relationship. Here we have two objects. One is the master and one is the detail. Master, as the name says, most of the properties of the detail object is provided by master itself. And you cannot go ahead and you can set properties like permission sets and other rules in the detail object. It will be automatically inherited from the master object. So I have created two objects here. One is lodge and the second one is room. And I've also created relationship between lodge and room, which is created using the master detail relationship. So here lodges is the parent object or the master object and room is the child object. Okay. So just in real-time scenario, we have lodges, and under that lodge, we have different rooms, okay, available. And so if the rooms have to exist, it has to exist under the lodge. It cannot be like a standalone room or room in the highway or somewhere. It has to be, there has to be a big building for lodge, and there we have different rooms available. So just like that, here also we have created same kind of relationship. So if you go into the room object and we take a look at the fields, you see under the custom fields, we have a master detail data type of field. So we have established relationship between the room object and between the lodge object using the master detail relationship field. Now let's take a look into each of these relationship fields in detail and how to create them. So let's just go ahead and create two objects only for learning purpose for the lookup relationship fields. So we go ahead to create and then we create objects. And we create a new custom object. Let's just call it as a lookup parent. Okay. Here we want text, so that is fine. And we create a tab. And we create save and new. And here we put lookup child. Then we create a tab, we click save. We choose any icon for that. Click next. Next. Include it in every tab and save. Okay, here we have a lookup child. And we will create a tab for lookup parent as well. So we search tab, we create tabs, and we create a new tab. And here we want lookup parent. We choose a tab style very quickly. Choose building. Let's click next. Next. And save. So right now, we do not have any relationship established between these two tables or these two objects. One is a lookup child and one is the lookup parent. Okay, so there's no relationship between these two objects right now. But if you want to create a relationship in Salesforce, always you have to create a relationship field in the child object. Okay, so here the child object is lookup child. So what we do is we just go ahead and create a new field. Okay, so we just create a new field, and from the data type, we choose the option for lookup relationship field. Okay, once that is done, we choose next. So the obvious question is which object this object will be related to. Okay, so the relationship you're trying to establish is with which object. So related to, you choose the name of the parent object that you want. So we have lookup parent. Okay, and you click next. Okay, just like creating any other custom field, you give the name of the field, okay, the field label, Okay, you can make it required. So, which is, we will take a look later. So we just click next. And then the visibility. Okay, so you skip this and you click next. Okay, so it's about page layout. We'll click next. And we click save. Okay, so let's take a look what it will look like. Okay, so let's go back to the object. Okay, now let's create few records for our parent. So that we can look it up in our child. Okay, so let's just create few records here. Parent, parent, one, civil new, parent, two, and parent 4. Okay. So we have 4 parent records created. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you're trying to create a new record in the lookup in the child, okay, if you try to create a new record here, you'll get a field just like a normal field, and here you can populate the name of the parent you want. So this is not a required field. If you want, you can choose a field, or it can also exist as a standalone. So the child object can also exist as a standalone object without any relationship. Okay, so if you want to establish relationship, you can choose a parent, and this is what a lookup field will look like. You have a magnifying glass, so if you click on this, you will get a list of all the possible parent objects. So you can pick up one, or whichever you want to relate this particular object to. So you can choose that. Okay, you can choose out of the all the parents available, and you can save it. Okay. So now if you go into the schema builder, we will see that there is a relationship established between these two objects. Okay, and we'll find the object. Child. Okay, so lookup parent and lookup child are connected now. And we have a lookup field in the child, which is having the name of the parent it is connected to. So the relationship field, it contains the ID of the record which it is connected to. So similar to the foreign key concept here, we have the ID of the record of the parent record saved in the child relationship field, which is a lookup relationship field here. So if you go back to the child, okay, you will not see the ID here. Okay, just for the user interface purpose, it's showing you the name of the parent record. Okay, but actually in the database, it is saving the ID of the parent 3 record. So parent 3 record has an ID. This is the ID. This is what it is saved. So once you get into the development part, if you try to retrieve the value of that particular field, you will get the ID. Okay, are you getting that concept here? Okay. And between any two given objects in Salesforce, you cannot create more than one relationship between the same two objects. Okay, you can either create a lookup relationship, or you can use a master detail. So here, as we have already established a relationship here, so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and create it, we'll delete it, and we'll create a master detail into same relationship field. So we go to the child and we delete this value. Okay. And then we go to the fields and we delete that field. So we delete the lookup parent field. Okay, and we go and remove it from the recycle bin as well. So we erased it completely. We wiped it off from the Salesforce org. So permanently delete it. Okay. So now if you go to the child object, as I said earlier, every time if you have to create a relationship, you have to go to the child object to create the relationship field. Okay. So in that relationship field, you will have the ID of the parent record. Okay. So similarly, we'll go to new fields and we choose master detail here. Okay. If you read the description provided, so master detail relationship creates a special type of parent-child relationship between the objects. So it is a special kind of relationship between parent and child, okay, and another object. So this is relationship between two objects. One is the child, which is called detail, and then we have parent or the master. And here we have the relationship field as the required field. So a child record cannot exist without a master record. Okay. So the relationship field is required on all the detailed records. So on all the detailed records or on the child records, you have to provide the name of the master. Okay, because most of the properties are inherited from the master, and the child record or the detailed record cannot exist independently. So that's why the relationship field is mandatory. Okay, then we have the ownership and the sharing of the detailed record are determined by the master record. So as I said, the permission sets and other values or other values of the details, they are inherited from the master record. Okay, and there is another concept here. As I said, there's a tight coupling between the master detail related objects. So if you delete the master object, the related object or the child object will automatically get deleted. So there are certain scenarios in which business cases in which you will have this requirement, so that if you delete the parent object, the child object should automatically be deleted. So let's say if you have a recruitment or let's say if you have a job profile object, and then each of the reviewers will come and provide their review, which is a child object. So if the job profile does not exist, then there is no existence of the review object as well. So if you delete the parent, then here in this scenario, the child should also be deleted. Okay, so in these business cases, you use the master detail relationship, where the detail relationship the detail record should not exist independently. Okay, and there's another property which is provided in the master detail relationship, is that you can create a roll-up summary field. So roll-up summary field it is also like a field, but it is automatically calculated, and you can have a summary of the child records. Okay, like you can have the total number of records, total number of child records available. Then you can have average of some field values. Okay, similarly you can have maximum and also minimum. We'll look into that into more detail in a little while. Okay, and as it says here that the relationship field allows the user to click on the lookup icon, the magnifying glass icon. Okay, you can click on that and select the value from the pop-up list. From the pop-up list, you can select the value of the master record. Okay, and the master object is the source of the value in the list. So in the list, what values you'll have? You'll have the list of all the master records available. Okay, so let's choose master detail relationship from here and let's click next. Okay, so the first step, it will ask you which object you want this particular object to be related to. Okay, so it's asking basically who is the master for this particular child object. So you choose lookup parent here. Okay, and if you noticed in the previous relationship field when we were trying to create, okay, we had the option of lookup child as well. Okay, so here you can create a relationship between two objects. I mean, you can create a self relationship as well if it's a lookup relationship field, but in master you cannot do so. Okay, so you just choose lookup parent and you click next. Okay, so now the step number 3, just like that, you populate these values for the name of the relationship. Okay, and there is an option for reparenting also available in the master detail relationship field. So let's say if you want to establish a new relationship, let's say you have a parent 1 and you have a child 1. Okay, so if you want this child to be disassociated with this parent and connected to another parent, then you can also do that if you check this relationship, this checkbox. Okay, so child records can be reparented to other parent records after they are created. So even after creating the relationship field, you can remove the parent and you can associate this child with another parent. Okay, so that option is also available. Okay, and you click next. Okay, and the visibility, as of now, we'll just click next and we click next. Okay, page layout, save. Okay, so there is a limitation. Okay, in master detail relationship, there is a limitation. If the records are already created for child object, okay, if the record is already created, then you cannot establish a master detail relationship because there's already a child record existing without a parent. Okay, so if you establish the relationship field, so what is the field, what is the record that it will populate in that field if you convert that into a master detail? Okay, so first of all, we'll have to delete that record, or if you want to convert the relationship, you can convert a lookup relationship into master detail. So you can establish that relationship first, populate the master on all those records, and then you can convert it. Okay, so here we go to the child here. Okay, and for this record, we click on the, just we should have refresh it, and this is gone. Okay, so how we can do this is we have to create a lookup relationship first, and then we have to convert that into a master detail relationship. Okay, as why we are doing this? Because the record already exists. So we choose lookup relationship here. We click next. We choose the object. Okay. No. Lookup parent. We click next. Field name. Okay, and then click next. Okay, we click next. Click next. And then click save. Okay, so now if we go to the child record, okay, look up childs, we already have an existing record. Okay, so as there is an existing record, we cannot create a master detail relationship for this being a child. Okay, because there is no parent as of now. So master detail relationship has that field mandatory for parent. So you have to provide a parent. But as of now, there's no parent. So if you create a master detail relationship, that field will be blank. Okay, which cannot happen. That is why it does not let you create any master detail relationship on an object if it already has a record created. Okay, So in this scenario, what you can do is you can create a lookup relationship field. Then you can establish a relationship between another object. You can populate a parent for this record, and then you can convert that into a master detail relationship. Okay, so you go ahead and you can populate the parent, edit this, and you populate a parent. Let's say parent 3, and you save it. Okay, once this is done, you can go ahead and edit the field. Okay, and you can convert that field into a master detail. So instead of lookup, you can convert this field type into a master detail. Okay, so you can change field type here. Let me show you from step 1. Okay, so you go to view fields, and then you edit the field. Which field you have to edit? Edit the lookup relationship field, because we are trying to convert it into a master detail relationship. Okay, so you edit this and you change the field type. Okay, and then you choose master detail relationship and click next. Okay, so let's choose reparenting and click save. Now it is converting that relationship. Okay, if you go to the fields now, if you see here, it is a data type is master detail relationship. Okay, and the relationship is established with the lookup parent, the parent object. Okay, so if you want to start from scratch, if you want to create a new master detail relationship, then you should not have records in the whichever you want to make it as a child. That object should not have any records. Okay, so let's try to create a master detail relationship from the scratch. Okay, so for that we need a new object. Okay, we go to create and we create new object, and we create new custom object, and we choose it as child master detail. Okay, let's go down. Okay, let's create a tab for this and we click save. Okay, let's choose a icon for the tab and we click next. Okay, next. Okay, which all apps you want to include this object in? We just choose it whatever the default was. So now we created another object which is child master detail. Okay, now if you want to create a master detail relationship between this object, between the child MD object and the lookup parent object, you can go ahead and do that. So you just go ahead and create a new field. Okay, if you go ahead and create a new record in this child master detail object, then you cannot create a master detail relationship. Okay, because the child already exists, because the record already exists. Okay, so you go ahead and create a new field. Okay, and then we choose master detail relationship and we click next. It will ask you who should be the parent, so we relate it to the lookup parent and we click next. Okay, the field. Okay, and then we click next. Next. Click next. And we save it. So now the relationship is created and it is a master detail relationship type. Okay, so if you go to the view fields, you will have the master detail relationship set up between two records. Okay, which two records? It's between the lookup parent with the child master detail object. Okay, Now let's take a look how it will look like. So if we go to the child master detail object, and if you create a new record, okay, the mandatory field is the name field. So child one master, and the lookup parent. Okay, here you can choose whichever parent you want. You cannot leave this field blank. Okay, so in a master detailed relationship, you cannot leave the field as a blank field. It has to always be populated. Okay, if you try to save it, it will give you an error. Okay, you must have a value. So you have to choose a parent object, okay, for the master detailed relationship. So you can choose whichever you want, and you can click save. Okay. So if you see under the parent record, now you have a related field which is showing if there is any child object or not. Right? So here the child object is child 1 and the parent object is parent 3. And similarly, if you go to the child object, you will see the name of the parent object. Okay. And what information this field will have? This field will have the ID of the parent. Okay. It will have the ID of the parent. And ID is, this is like the 15-digit ID of every record. Every record has an ID connected to it, which is auto-populated, auto-generated by Salesforce. Right? In lookup relationship fields, the master detail and master detail relationship, there is a huge difference. Okay, there is a difference in how these relationships are established and also how these relationships behave. Okay, how the objects behave while in a lookup relationship or a master detail relationship. If there is a lookup or a relationship established between two objects, then that's a loosely bind relationship. It's not very tight. Okay, and the field for the lookup relationship is an optional field. If you want, you can have a parent. If you don't want, you can keep it as a blank value. Okay, and the child record can also behave independently. All right. And in any relationship, be it lookup or be it master, you can have a standard object as the parent of the standard object. Okay, you can have a standard object parent of a custom object. You can also have a custom object parent of a custom object, but you cannot have a custom object as the parent of the standard object. Standard object is all the objects which are already created by Salesforce, like accounts, opportunities. So you cannot make those objects as a child object in any other relationship. Okay. All right, and let's take a look at the next point. In the lookup relationship, if you delete the parent record, as the master record is independent and also the child record is independent, if you delete the master, the child will not be deleted. But that is not the case in master detail relationship. If there is a relationship between two objects in a master detail relationship, if you delete the master, the child will automatically get deleted. Okay, and the child cannot have independent permissions and sharing rules. All those rules will be passed down by its master. Okay, so it's like a hierarchy. It's inheriting the roles and responsibilities that is provided to the master record. Right. So guys, so far you have any questions? Everybody is clear? Okay. Okay. All right. And if you're trying to create a lookup relationship, it does not matter whether the records exist or not because the field is not mandatory. But if there is any record already existing in a child object, then you cannot create a master detail relationship for that. Okay. In this scenario, you have to create a lookup relationship and then you can convert that into a master detail relationship. You have to populate the parent in the lookup. Okay. And then you go ahead and convert that into the master detail. So in master detail relationship, you get a feature which is called rollup summary field. So let's take a look into rollup summary fields. So let's get into our Salesforce org. And rollup summary field can only be created on the master record. Okay, whoever is the master object, in that record only you can create the rollup summary field. Okay, so you go to the parent object. Okay, so you go to the parent object and you try to create a field. So rollup summary field is also a field. It's also type of a field. So you go to the new field here. Okay, and we choose rollup summary and we click next. And we type the name. Let's take it as okay, and we click next. All right. So in rollup summary field, you can have 4 type of outputs. Okay. What type of data you want that field to display? It's an auto-generated field. Okay. Salesforce will automatically create and populate the values for this. It will calculate the value for rollup summary field. So there are 4 types of rollup summary fields. You can have count, you can have sum, minimum, or maximum. If you choose count, okay, if you choose count, it will count all the number of child objects or the child records for that particular parent. So here we have a parent and we have, let's say, 4 childs are there. So if you choose count, then it will give you 4. Okay, because 4 child are there. All right, and if you choose sum, it will ask you which field you want the sum value of. So let's say if we have an object which is opportunity. So every opportunity which has an amount. Okay, so if you have a master for that opportunity, okay, so if you want to calculate the sum of that particular offer, for all the child records, if you want to calculate the sum, okay, you can have that in the master record. Okay, so it will calculate the sum of all the child record fields. So one field will have some amount value, so every record will have that value, so it will sum all those values up and it will show you in the parent record. Okay, similarly, you can choose one field and you can have the minimum value of all the records for that field. Okay, and similarly the maximum also works in the same way. So let's see count. Okay, and you have to provide the child here. Okay, and then you choose count and you click next. So here also you are creating a field. So just the normal options that you get, the normal steps, visibility, page layout, etc. And if you go to view field, you have a rollup summary field which is created in the parent. And rollup summary field is always created on the parent record. Okay, it also always has to be there on the parent object. Okay. So we have a rollup summary field which is created between the child. Okay, and what is the field type? It is count. Okay, so let's see what values it will populate. So for this, you have to go to the parent. And let's say if you have a parent here. Okay, so there's no child here. Lookup child is not there, but there's a master detail here. So we go ahead and we see a field here. So if you take a look at the parent here, and if you see the rollup summary field, here it shows 1. If you create more records, more child records, the count will increase. So if you want to create another child record, say second child, you click save, the rollup summary field will automatically calculate that and it will show as 2. So as you see here, the rollup summary field has populated the number of child records. Okay. So if you choose sum in that option while creating a rollup summary field, it will just count the number of childs. Okay. So let's try to show you another form of rollup summary field. For that, you need some field on which you can do calculation in the child. So let's go to the child. Okay. And let's try to create a field. So let's create a numeric field on which it can do a calculation of either sum or maximum or minimum. Right. So let's choose a number field and we click next. Okay, let's keep it as numbers, some random numbers. Okay, the field name is populated here and we click next. Next. And we save. All right. Now if you go to the parent, here you will have another field created and that field okay, now let's try to create another roll-up summary field where we will do some calculations like sum or like a maximum or minimum. Okay, so if you create new, we choose roll-up summary and we click next. Okay, and we choose sum. Field name will be sum. We click next. So it will ask you which field you want to calculate. Okay, that will be here. Okay, which field you want to calculate the aggregate for, sum, minimum or maximum. Okay, and you choose the child object here. And if you choose sum, choose numbers. Okay, it's automatically giving you only one option because that is the only field where you can do arithmetic calculations. Okay, so that is why it's showing you only one option, and you can click on next. Next. And save. And let's create some values. Let's provide some values to that field so that it can show us any calculation. So if you go to the child, and we have to populate some values so that we can see some result. Okay. In the number field, put some number, let's say 25, and we save it. Let's go to another child, and here also we provide some numbers. Let's see 35. We click save. Okay. So now if you go to the parent and we refresh, here you have another roll-up summary field created, which is sum, and it will give you the total of the field values of child and of all the child. And what field value it will calculate the sum of? That is the number field. Okay, so 25 and 35 is giving you 60 here. All right. Okay, cool. Let's move ahead. Now, what is the basic difference between a lookup and the master detail relationship? Right. So these points I've already mentioned in the video. Okay. So you cannot create a detailed record without a master record. So if you have a master detail relationship field, you have to have a master record in every child record. Okay, that field you cannot leave it as a blank. Okay, but this does not imply on the lookup relationship field. There you can have a master or you can also skip that. Okay, and if the record is deleted, if the child master record is deleted, then in the relationship master detail, it will automatically delete the child record also. Okay, but this does not happen in the lookup relationship. And all the sharing rules and permission sets will be inherited by the child record from its parent if it is a master relationship, master detail relationship. But this does not happen in the lookup relationship. Okay. And also there's a limit to how many number of master detail relationships you can have per object. Okay. And you can convert a master detail relationship into a lookup and vice versa also. Okay. And the third type of relationship field is a hierarchical relationship field. Here you can use only one object. In the previous situations in a lookup or master detail, we had option to create relationship between any two objects. But here you can use only the user object to be a part of the hierarchical relationship. Okay, you can only have one user, a parent, and one user as a child. So this is only for creating a user hierarchy. Okay, like parent, and then you can have a hierarchy from parent to child. Okay. All right, so here are a few assignments that I want to give you guys. Okay, so make sure that you go ahead and perform these assignments. Okay. All right, thanks for hanging in, guys, and let me know if you have any questions. You can even post comments down below so that I can answer those queries. And if you have any doubts, you can also mention that. Okay. Thank you so much, and have a good day. Bye.